What's up? What's up?
Tweezy.
Hey, man, I appreciate you all having me in, man.
Yeah, you already know. Like
much
this
love
is.
to y'all, dude.
Aw.
Y'all got icon popping, bro.
Thank you.
I guess they call you an A&R. Is that what it is?
I would tell you that if anything, I probably would be more of, at this point, more of a person in the marketing department.
Okay.
At one point, I managed P.
Originally from Arizona.
Yeah, grew up, born and raised here, man. The first 18 years of my life was right here. And, 17 years, actually. But went away to Louisiana to go to school at Southern University. Much love to all my peeps, the SU Jaguars, any of y'all who are out here representing in Phoenix.
And that's where it started.
Yeah, it certainly did. And I started in Alexandria in radio. And so I stayed there.
College radio?
College, I actually transferred from Southern, and I started professional. But 3 months later, I was on a college station at Northwestern State.
Okay.
I transferred there for a semester, hated it, went back to Southern.
Why'd you hate it?
You want that culture?
Yeah.
I'd never seen so many beautiful black women in my life. It was 13 to 1. So then when I transferred to Northwestern, because at the time my dad had moved his law practice, and he wanted me to be a little closer to my grandmother. So that was a closer school, but I couldn't stand it. I was like, I gotta get out of here. But they did have a college radio station, and it was kind of cool because I just started professionally. And wow, it was amazing, man. It was like I got to do what I wanted to do. So shouts out to everybody doing college radio.
That's where it starts. What would you say was your first break into the music industry?
I was looking for a job, and I was a broadcast journalism major, but in communications.
Okay.
So I wrote for the newspaper at Southern. That summer, I went to a newspaper to try to get a job writing. And went there, and next thing you know, the guy's telling me about a radio station, maybe writing commercials. Go there, and the guy hears me talk. He's like, I want to put you on the air. I'm going to start teaching you. So shouts out to Donnie Taylor, who gave me my break.
Were you hesitant at first when he said that to you?
God.
Kind of being like, what? Radio? I thought I was going to just write, and now you want me to talk?
I never thought about it. I was like, wait a minute, radio? That might be cool. So I love music.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. And I'd always been a person who had the music first out of my friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Back then, we would get rap music from the SWAT meet on 44th Street. And so and every time I go to Louisiana, I'd hear a black radio station.
Right.
I'd stay up all night and record and come back. So my passion for music has been there.
Were you did you ever like dabble in the DJ game?
Certainly did. I am not a scratcher, but I can blend. Let's
Okay.
do that. You come from CD to record, a lot of the music was there. You'd have to like wind it back and start it while talking, like doing the break. Hey, this is Jay Tweezy, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
At the same time.
I heard that radio voice in there. Say that again.
Yeah.
That's not
That's
old.
what
Yo,
I
I might have
like-
we're gonna have to get that. We're gonna have to get that official
Yes.
Icon Radio Jay Tweezy
Oh my
drop.
goodness, yeah, but
Let's
it was
hear
that
it.
type of thing that was happening, man.
Yeah, I dig it. I dig
So
it.
yeah, that was my big break. I mean, I've had a lot of breaks. Radio afforded me so many opportunities, man. I mean,
And through that's how you met Master P, correct?
yeah, I met Master P actually back then in Alexandria. I was working. My shift was an overnight shift, and I was doing a lot of parties. Like I was trying to make money on the side. And he came through, and I'll never forget, he had a red Felon and a blue one. And one leg pulled up, and no one had ever heard of him. And he was doing About It. And we were like, what the hell is this? But I played his record, got his contact, and we kept in communication.
That's dope.
We got really tight in Baton Rouge. And when in radio, my goal had been, and I think most people who get in radio back then, when they got in, it was about getting to a major market. And so my journey led me from Alexandria to Baton Rouge. And I went there, and I was actually working at a pop station. I've worked at just about every format. I've worked country, I've worked gospel, I've worked hip hop, and I started at a pop station. There was not a hip hop station in Baton Rouge. So the first one came on when I went back to Baton Rouge in 96, and the station came on right at the beginning of 97. And I started working there. I saw the PD on campus and gave him my air check. He hired me right away. By this point, P has blown up. P is living in Baton Rouge. And so when I go to the office a lot of times from Alexandria, he wouldn't be there because he was always moving around. But we would talk on phone here and there, but every time we saw each other, it was jam. And so when we connected more so in Baton Rouge, when I got there, he's calling me all the time.
That's good.
When he's in town, not trying to play basketball or not being on the road, doing a lot of different business type stuff, because he never did a lot of shows at that point.
Yeah.
But it was more of a lot of business deals being cut.
So you were there in the beginning of his career until he obviously took off, and you were around that whole era.
Yeah, I was around the gold mansions, man. I mean, the gold ceilings, the gold floors, all that, the elevators in the house. Yeah.
He had gold ceilings and gold floors and gold
24
elevators.
karat gold.
Master P had that in his house?
Non-stop.
Oh.
With 4 people sitting in a room just
80 million
watching,
records sold.
just watching the grounds.
Seriously?
The first, and see, Louisiana's a different place because he was living in a country club area that was considered the most expensive place to live. And it was a big deal when he moved there because Master P and C Murder are buying houses in this pretty much white establishment. And they had never seen it. He was the first black to move in there.
Wow.
And so it was really a big deal. But yeah, he had it really out of control. I mean, you got to imagine, this is a guy from the worst projects in America, the Calio.
Yeah.
And so a lot of his influence and what he thought was hot, I always tease him about it. He had big felt, like oil felt pictures of himself on the walls in the house.
Is it true that Master P opened up for Tupac?
Yes, it is. P got his start a lot. Well, what P did, he was a businessman, like, as you know, many people might not know, but he actually went to the Bay Area when he actually left Louisiana, when he was trying to make his way and trying to make sure he didn't get killed just by the lifestyle that he was living. And went up there, and I think Romeo kind of changed his life. That was the whole thought he had Rome. He decided to go. I think his grandfather died, left him some money. He went up there and was living in a building. He didn't get an apartment. He bought a building and lived in it with his family and basically turned it into a record store. No Limit Records.
Wow.
And so when he started doing that, he started seeing all these records moving. He's like, man, I can rap. Started rapping, recording, and no one would give him a chance because he's a brother from New Orleans with a bunch of gold teeth in his mouth. And so how he got on would be to book shows like Spice One, Tupac, JT the Bigger Figure, E40. Yeah. Then he'd get on the bus with them, and they'd go out and they'd perform. He tells a story all the time about how he had 2 or 3 people out there moving with them, everyone else booing. But that's how he did it.
Wow, that's crazy.
He's really smart.
Yeah.
The way he did everything. He was one of the first people to do a lot of different things and kind of create his own lane.
Yeah,
on how to do
you know what it was? He knew who his market was, so he went after that. And I think that's a big mistake that a lot of artists make. Matter of fact, I see that a lot here in town.
Yeah.
And it's a sad thing, but you have to look at what it really is. He understood who he was going after. And the timing of it all worked out perfectly for him when it finally caught on.
Yeah.
So you got to have, that's a big privilege to be able to, spend so much time with such an iconic person that changed the game. Well, what was some of the most important things
you guys learned a lot together.
that you learned from that you apply now to your life?
The biggest thing I take from P is if you want to be the best, you got to outwork the best. Because that's what it's really about. You got to work. If there's if I'm an artist and I'm going to try to make in this game, well, I can't just record 1 song a day. I might need to record 10. I need to keep recording until I get a hit record. And that's what I take for him the most. And also trying to find always trying to find a new creative way to market myself.
Okay.
I think that there's a lot of artists that I haven't heard. I have a few that I actually consult. That would be Bougie and Swerve, and I got a lot of love for them. And they brought me in like family, and a lot of that's very much due to people like yourself. Oh. You're the first person who reached out to me when I first came to Arizona.
That's crazy.
I got to be honest with you. She's the first person who ever reached out. She reached out actually before I even got here. And we started communicating a little bit, but as soon as I touched down, Mayra reached out and took me everywhere I needed to go within the first day. And it was amazing. I mean, and without you doing that, Mayra, I would be completely lost. So I thank you very much.
Look at you,
Mayra. Look at you, Mayra.
I'm telling you, she told me about Wes and all of them doing their things, told me about you. She showed me artists. She showed me people like Jay Slug. She showed me Rico Bands. She showed me Sincerely Collins, Futuristic. I told you about that I've been keeping an eye on Minnie. I'd seen her from before. But you showed me a whole plethora of artists and key influencers in this city. And even Bougie and even Swerve, all these people she brought to the table. I'm like, damn, Mayra, you actually know all this, okay? But long story short, I have since been, I've put together a compilation I'm going to put out through No Limit. And I want to help Arizona get on. So being that I lived in Baton Rouge and I was actually a program director at the radio station there, at the main hip hop station in Baton Rouge, and I'd like to brag a little bit and say it was probably the hottest station in Louisiana, maybe one of the hottest in the South. I've been around this scene of independence going from independent to major. The game has changed now because you don't really need to be signed to a major today. But we could basically just say independents who turn their career into successful careers. People like Trill Entertainment, people like Mystical, people like Cash Money Records. Just like I know P, I would tell you that I've worked with Baby and Cash Money. I've worked with a lot of different people. I've been around them. I have relationships that stretch from T.I. starting to, I mean, there's probably no one in the South. And that's not to be cocky. I don't want to come off that way, so please don't take it that way. But I spend so much time there that I have relationships with a lot of people. And I've helped a lot of people in that area, and they've helped me too, just as much. It was kind of fun to be at the Playboy Olympics and see Slim, and Slim was like, "What the hell are you doing here, man? What are you out here for?" But it was it's really kind of deeper than you could imagine. So I understand what it takes to go from the beginning to making your area a place that really pops. Let's look at it. Phoenix has 4.1 million people living in Maricopa County. Let's just say Maricopa County.
Speak on it.
Arizona, Baton Rouge, Louisiana had, 400,000 when Boosie comes out?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but let's look. He's not the first to ever make it from there, though. You got to think there was a CeeLo, there was a Youngbleed. There were other people that had kind of led the way, but these are people who were selling 30,000 units of CDs when it was CDs and records. They were selling that every time they dropped. And they were getting $8.75 a CD. You do the math on that.
Yeah.
They were living nice.
Serious.
Yes.
Yeah. So understand that you have Phoenix, Arizona with 4.1 million people. How many people here are making that kind of money in rap? I see one. And I give him all the credit in the world, but he really understands what he's doing. And that's much, and if there's anyone to follow here, if you're going to look at people as an example in Arizona, you better look at Futuristic.
Yeah.
You better look at it and understand it.
Well, that brings it back to your point that you made, that it's so important for you to, like Master P, you made that comment earlier, you have to know your target audience and cater to that. You have to know where you're going to win. And
You just said it. And I'm going to break it down and keep it 100. This place is not Baton Rouge. This place is not Houston. This place is not New York City. What am I saying? I'm an African American from Phoenix, Arizona, with roots in Louisiana. That's where my family's from. But if I'm coming out here, you got to understand, where am I going to get sales from? Am I going to get it from a black community that only has 12%? I'm going to get some 12% of the makeup of Phoenix in the metropolitan area. No,
Much different.
I'm going to get it from a Hispanic audience and a white audience. And I better be looking at what the lifestyle is. Let's look at something that's happening nationwide right now. Are you familiar with Jake Paul? You know who he is?
Jake Paul.
He has a video he dropped 5 weeks ago, 52 million views.
Damn.
Second record he's ever dropped in his life. But
And where is
he's
he
a
from?
kid. He got popular on Vine, and he's on. He's kind of made a name for himself on Disney. But if you look at the record, it's every day, bro. And he's just having fun. Terrible record.
So what do you think?
Number 2 on the Billboard charts.
At the same time, I think that makes it harder to find the good artists because there's so much saturation with artists. And
It is oversaturated.
Yeah, but good is relevant. It's what sells a lot of times in this industry.
True,
And then
of
I have a
course.
question about how you said that you have to have your target audience, and then you mentioned the statistics of how many people are in the black community and how many people are the Hispanic and the white. So for people that make rap music, most of the time that's targeted toward, it's mostly African American people that do that. Not all the time, but sometimes. So are you suggesting that they should change their type of music to appeal to a white community or a Hispanic
I'm not
one?
saying that, but what I am saying is this. It's just like saying that if I came here and decided that I'm going to try to be 50 Cent in Phoenix, I'm going to miss it. Because he targeted a group of people that was much different. He understood the lifestyle of the place where he was at. What I'm suggesting is that, hey, I'm not saying I'm not going to be, even the first place I might stop might be South Phoenix, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, what I am saying is that I understand the influencers in Phoenix look and act a different way than they do in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
So I think Futuristic proved that to you. He knew exactly who he was going after. He knew what it was, the people who would buy, and he reflects it on every video I see. He's having fun.
Yeah.
He's a black kid wearing what? A tank top, some plaid shorts, or whatever.
It's almost like he makes fun of the fact that people are going to make fun of him or say that oh, he's not this and not that. and he just embraces it and uses it to his advantage, and he wins.
What I'm saying too, though, you're exactly
himself.
right.
He's just being
You're
himself.
100% right. But the streets here, I need to understand who are the streets here, and where the street. If I'm a street artist, right, then I'm going to go at that a different way than I would do it in any other city. And I can't use the example of a Boosie as to say for my plan here in Phoenix. You understand?
Because
what I'm
it's
saying?
different. It's
Exactly.
different people.
Exactly.
All right, so check this out. We got my man Jay Tweezy, No Limit Forever in the building.
Let me send a shout out real quick if you don't mind.
Yeah, go
Shouts
ahead.
out to my boy Jay One Speed. I want to say what's up to him.
Speed.
I want to say what's up to Rico Bands. I want to say what's up to all of the people here who are putting it down.
Is it true that at some point Master P was going to buy Cash Money?
Very true.
Was that because he
he
saw
wasn't going to buy it. He was offered a chance to buy it.
And he said no.
Yeah. he
before
said no.
it was Baby owning it then?
Yeah, Baby and Slim were the main two people. See, when Cash Money first came out, they had an artist by the name of Pimp Daddy. And Pimp Daddy, that's where the launch came, and he was successful. He got killed. From there, it launched. So it was just that Baby would have probably been ahead of Cash Money, ahead of No Limit at that time. But
Wow.
when P went to the Bay, by the time he develops that fan base and comes back to Louisiana, it was off and running.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it was off
crazy.
and running.
I bet you a lot of people don't know that, though.
But Baby was still successful, but it was just that P was a little more savvy and was a little more committed to invest more of himself into it.
Yeah.
And so, like, P would have, like, he may have made $250,000, let's say, off a record. He put that same $250 back in
He bet on himself because he knew he would
every
win.
single time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Every single time.
That's great.
What was your favorite No Limit or Master P project? Or
I'd have to say, I got to be a little selfish on that. It's going to be Wobble Wobble. That's the record that I got on.
You got on. You're on that record.
Yeah, I'm on that
That's so
record.
cool.
And that's probably my favorite record.
And that was what album was that from?
That's going to be 504 Boys.
Oh, that's right.
That's actually, in my opinion, one of the. It's probably the third biggest record that I think he's made, or second or third.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Behind Make Him Say,
Yeah, make him say, "Oh, you got to say that." And you got
About
to
it.
say, "Yeah, you got to say."
Ice
maybe
Cream Man.
Ice Cream Man. Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere
Classic.
in there. Maybe. I mean, I could say Ice Cream Man, but I might be saying something like Hootie Hoo, because that was a big record.
Yeah, that
too.
was a big record.
That was huge.
Okay. All right. So moving forward, 2017, you still have a knack for finding talent. You came to Arizona, and Mayra did point you in the right direction, where you stumbled across a producer by the name of Jay Slug, which then brought you to an artist by the name of Angelo Nano.
What's up, Nano? That's one of
And,
my favorite artists too. I forgot I should have said it the first time around. Sorry about that, Nano. I got love for you, boy.
Shout out to Nano.
I went to the salt mine. I knew about the salt mine because there was another producer who used to be with Cash Money who had recorded Lollipop out here. And when I was home visiting, he was doing that with Wayne. And I went by there and hung out with him, so I knew about the salt mine.
That's right.
So I went over there. The guy, Don, hooks me up with Slug, and it was kind of funny. He put me in this little small room. I guess he thought I was some type of like little dweeb or something. He put me in the little small room, and I'm in there, and Slug was in there. He started talking, and I hear his voice. Man, you ain't from here. Where are you from? New Orleans. And so I started telling him who I am. He's like, what? We started talking, and I went in there with the idea of making a beat. And so I told him what I wanted. And Slug, you still ain't gave me my beat, man. I need my track out. But he put it together, and we hung out, and I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
He started playing me some stuff. Then I just started keeping an eye on him because, I'm not just going to take somebody to pee right away. And so after developing a little relationship with them and listening to the music and watching what was going on, we went to, Justice and I went to L.A., and Justice spoke up for him too. But I actually let P hear the music, and he was really impressed with his production and him as
He
an
had
artist.
that South bounce, that New Orleans bounce.
Yeah, and P understanding that I was here, and P loves, like you said, he loves people from his hometown.
Yeah.
And that was just a natural fit. And that's not to take away at all from Slug's talent. Slug is a very talented artist.
Well, it was just so meant to be. And then
Yeah.
I think one time you and I were talking, and you were telling me how it's so hard for people to make it out of New Orleans. And so when Master P had the chance to help somebody, especially somebody that you were, presenting to him,
And the
he
fact
said, yeah.
that I was here, he knows that he began to look at Phoenix. And he remembered when he came through here. He's like, that's a gold mine.
Yeah.
So and Slug is right. He matches the brand. Slug has a lot of talent. He's a great rapper. He's a great producer. And I think that you will see him really blowing up in due time. Just like Nano. Like I think Nano, in my opinion, is probably one of the most talented 21-year-olds I've ever met. 22, 21. I mean, this kid is really sick. And I think that as time goes on and as they keep working, you're going to hear some major hit records. I think Nano has one right now.
He got a couple.
Yeah.
What was one of the things that like you say that New Orleans helped Slug and his talent and everything. When you saw Nano, he's very different, in my opinion, from Slug. What was it that you noticed from Nano that made you want to present?
His image, his look, I mean, he has it all to me. I mean, his sound is right there. And he makes really, really big sounding records. I think the growth potential for Nano is unlimited. I think that he really needs, when he really feels 2,000% comfortable in his own shoes, I think he's really right there. The world won't be able to contain what he can bring.
I agree with you. I see that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to the kid. What made you want to put out a project, your own project? You got this strip clubs.
I don't even want to put it, and thank you for what you're saying, but only reason I'm putting it out is because I see a problem. There's an issue with people not being able to get their music far enough. So what I wanted to do was to use No Limit as a base to put it out, because that's my affiliation, but really as a chance to blend some Louisiana and Arizona, because I'm truly kind of Southwest connected. I mean, the South is where I cut my teeth, is where I really made my mark. And this is where I'm from. So I wanted to kind of blend some of the hottest independents together.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's what I wanted to do.
It's opportunity, man. And
so it's not even about me. It's I'm putting it out there. It's Jay Tweezy presents the Plug Hubs and Strip Clubs. And I really wanted to name it the Valley of the Sun, but I wanted to bring in a lot of other people. So that's
hold on. I'm about him. He's so anointed with like the talent of music. He's so great.
Saying? Like he laced it up so much. Like, and I have a record I want y'all to play here.
Oh, I want to hear it.
That actually, hopefully, John and I will be working together. Because Blaze, you got a serious presence here in the market, and I think you can help me with pushing this record here. But Nove is just one of those guys who I think is truly a hidden gem in this market, and I really want people here to really support it. And he's a guy that can do anything, and it was just a pleasure to work with him, and hopefully we'll be able to do some more work together.
Oh, I can't wait. Absolutely. That's an absolute thing.
Me and you see it, we believe in it, but it's like we could touch it, but we can't quite get it, grab it.
You know what it is? Music is so much like timing, and about timing, and it's so much about really the work that you put in. See, the environment we're in now, people like to say that everything's about the internet, but that's not true. Like Blaze, you're a DJ here at Icon. How many people come to you and actually talk to you and find out that you actually work in clubs? I wonder. I've hung out with you one night in the club. I didn't see anybody show up with the record trying to get it played. But if I'm an artist, I'm banging your door down every day. I'm banging down the DJ's door over at the high school party, at the other clubs that are throughout the town. And you have to get out here and touch people, because if I don't have my records being played on a radio station, a major one, or a terrestrial radio station, or Icon Radio that's coming, then I sure as hell need to be finding other places to expose my music.
Right, exactly.
And even with it, I got to do it. I mean, come on, man. Like, give it up to our DJs real quick, as a matter of fact, because DJs are the cornerstone of hip-hop. And if you don't understand that, you're really lost in this game.
DJs are the trendsetters and the tastemakers at the end of the day, because We have the music. We're the ones that have the jobs that play the music at any party. Like,
You touch the people.
but was there
Yeah.
ever that time where, you know what I mean, where it was
Where it
like,
wasn't cool.
like people
Yeah.
from the South, like, oh, you can't rap. Like Scarface, what are you doing? Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Outkast, what are they doing?
I mean, you got to think. I'm out there, and I'm from the West, so I'm hearing. I'm an NWA fan. I'm a West Coast rider, and so when I get there, the first records I start hearing about are more of these bounce records, like a T Tucker and a DJ Jimmy and all these and a Luke Skywalker out of Florida. I mean, these things were records that were just coming, but in Louisiana, it was really mostly a New Orleans presence that was coming, and it was a lot of bounce music. You hear bounce, but a lot of people say bounce, they don't understand what bounce is. It's really like a brown beat that has been that, or either like the Showboys beat that has a lot of rapping going on over it. And those are all. That's for a lot of you guys who don't know. Do your homework on that and check it out. You'll understand what I'm talking about. But the transition into it becoming big was real quick.
Yeah.
It was happening.
Because
People
the way they
working.
went about it, like they actually
I
worked
sense-
their way through it
I
in a
sense-
different way.
I sense a lot of that.